Imagine that you are walking through the living room, distracted, perhaps thinking about life or even reviewing the month's bills. And then the dreaded moment happens. Your little toe hits the corner of the table. The pain is instant, sharp, almost unbearable. You jump, scream, and curse the table that seems to have a life of its own. Now, if we were to classify this pain in a tier list, where would it fall? Surprisingly, this classic pain that everyone has felt would fall into category C. That's right, if you thought it would be in the higher categories, you're very mistaken. In today's video, we will explore the various types of pain we can feel. You'll see that stubbing your toe on the corner of the bed is nothing compared to other types of pain. And for that, we need to define some criteria. Firstly, the intensity of the pain. It's no secret that some pains are much more intense than others, and this directly affects our experience and reaction to them. Secondly, the duration the pain persists until it completely disappears. For example, the pain from stubbing your toe can be intense but usually lasts only a few seconds. A burn, on the other hand, can cause intense pain for days or even weeks. Consequently, the impact it generates on your daily life is certainly an aspect to be considered in this video. After all, daily tasks become unbearable and even impossible to perform depending on the pain you are feeling. With these criteria in mind, let's explore the different pains that we can all experience and see where each one fits on our pain tier list. We know that the feeling of pain can be quite subjective, varying from person to person. Therefore, to make our analysis more precise and interesting, we will focus on the above-average intensity that each type of pain can reach. For example, when we talk about toothache, we are not referring to that slight discomfort when drinking something cold. But we are also not talking about that completely unbearable pain where every second feels like torture. We are talking about that very annoying, irritating pain that definitely disrupts anyone's daily life. The same logic applies to all the types of pain we will discuss. We always consider a bit above the average of that pain, that intensity that makes some people squirm, but not everyone. So get ready, because it's going to be a painful video. Always remember that we at the Tier Listing channel do not claim to have the absolute truth, and this video will feature comments and personal opinions. Therefore, it is very important that everyone interacts respectfully in the comments, sharing their experiences with different types of pain, and of course, what category you believe is the best fit for them. Now, without further ado, let's get to the video. First pain, headache. There are several types of headaches, but as we have already discussed, we will consider that above-average headache. You know that throbbing pain that feels like your skull is being squeezed by an invisible force? The one that can be so intense that you can barely open your eyes or focus on anything. In everyday life, this pain can arise in various forms. A debilitating migraine that catches you off guard in the middle of the day, a tension headache after hours of stress and work, or even a cluster headache that occurs in repetitive and intense episodes. The possible causes of this intense pain are varied. It can be caused by stress, dehydration, prolonged exposure to bright lights, uncorrected vision problems, or even more serious issues like high blood pressure or sinusitis. When you feel this pain, it can be so overwhelming that the only solution is to lie down in a dark, quiet room, waiting for the medication to take effect. The intensity can range from mild to extremely severe, and the duration can vary from a few hours to several days. Based on our criteria of intensity and duration, we classify the above-average headache in category C of our tier list. The pain is intense, can be incapacitating, and depending on the type, can last for a long period, significantly affecting the quality of life. Second pain, toothache. Toothache is one of the most excruciating pains that someone can experience. There are several types of toothache, but as we have already discussed, we will consider that above-average toothache. You know that throbbing pain that feels like a hammer inside your mouth, interfering with even the simplest acts of eating, drinking, or even sleeping. In everyday life, this pain can arise in various forms. An untreated cavity that reaches the nerve of the tooth, an infection or dental abscess that causes inflammation and swelling, or even a trauma like a hit or fracture of the tooth. The pain can be continuous or come in waves, but the result is always a constant and debilitating sensation of suffering. Often, the pain is exacerbated by contact with hot or cold foods and drinks, making even a sip of cold water a discomforting experience. When you feel this pain, it can be so unbearable that often the only immediate solution is to take potent painkillers or seek emergency dental care. The intensity can vary, but in the most severe cases, it is described as a piercing and penetrating pain that seems to radiate throughout the face and head. I believe that if we were to consider the peak of this pain, it would certainly be in category S on our tier list. But as we are considering almost the peak but not the peak itself, we will classify toothache in category A of our tier list. Although it can be extremely uncomfortable and persistent, there are other pains that can be even more intense and long-lasting. Third pain, back pain, low back. Back pain or low back pain is one of the most common complaints among adults and can range from a mild discomfort to a severe pain that interferes with daily life. The causes are diverse, including poor posture, excessive physical exertion, injuries, or chronic conditions like herniated discs and sciatica. In everyday life, back pain can arise after a long day of work, especially if you sit for hours without proper posture. It can also result from lifting heavy objects incorrectly, or even from simple activities like twisting your body abruptly. The intensity of back pain can vary from a persistent, uncomfortable sensation to a sharp pain that prevents any movement. The duration also varies, from a temporary pain after a specific activity to a chronic pain that lasts months or even years. Based on our criteria of intensity and duration, back pain is classified in category D of our tier list. It is a common and often debilitating pain, but since we are not considering the peak of this pain, and rather a bit above average, I believe it is a relatively bearable pain compared to the others. And you? Do you agree or disagree with this decision? Comment below if you have suffered or some back pain or lumbago. Share your experience with us and see the experiences of other people as well. Fourth pain, earache. Earache, often resulting from infections or pressure changes, is a sharp and persistent pain that can be quite debilitating. It is particularly common in children, but adults can also suffer from this pain, especially in situations like air travel or diving. The symptoms of earache can include a sensation of pressure, sharp pain, ringing in the ears, and even temporary hearing loss. The most common causes are middle ear infections, otitis media, wax buildup, or changes in atmospheric pressure. In everyday life, this pain can be intensified by factors like sinus infections, allergies, or even throat infections that spread to the ears. The pain can be constant, making daily activities like talking, chewing, or even sleeping extremely uncomfortable. Based on our criteria, earache is classified in category C of our tier list. I confess that a severe earache could easily be in category A or even category S of our tier list. Do you agree? But anyway, the earache, let's say the average one, although it is a sharp and persistent pain, can usually be treated effectively with proper medication, and there are other pains that can be more intense and prolonged. Fifth pain, menstrual pain. Ladies, this pain is especially for you. Menstrual pain, or dysmenorrhea, is a condition that affects many women during the menstrual phase of their cycle. This pain can range from mild discomfort to intense and debilitating pain that interferes with daily activities. The symptoms of dysmenorrhea include cramping pains in the lower abdomen, which can radiate to the lower back and thighs. Besides the pain, other associated symptoms can include nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, and headache. Dysmenorrhea is divided into two types: primary, which is not associated with any underlying condition and usually begins in adolescence, and secondary, which results from medical conditions such as endometriosis, uterine fibroids, or pelvic inflammatory disease. Menstrual pain can start 1 or 2 days before the beginning of the menstrual cycle and last from 2 to 4 days. During this period, many women may find it difficult to carry out their daily tasks, study, or even concentrate at work due to the intensity of the pain. The intensity of menstrual pain can vary significantly among women. For some, the pain is moderate and manageable with over-the-counter painkillers, while for others, the pain is so severe that it requires prescription medication or other medical interventions. Severe menstrual pain can be compared to intense cramps, which can be debilitating and significantly affect the quality of life. Based on our criteria, we classify menstrual pain in category C of our tier list. The pain can be very uncomfortable and persistent, significantly affecting daily life, but still, there are other pains that can be more intense and long-lasting. Sixth pain, burn pain. Burn pain is one of the most intense and uncomfortable pains a person can experience. It can be caused by exposure to fire, hot liquids, hot surfaces, chemicals, or even solar radiation. There are different degrees of burns, from first-degree burns, which affect only the outer layer of the skin, to third-degree burns, which destroy all layers of the skin and can reach underlying tissues. In everyday life, this pain can arise from various situations. For example, a mild sunburn after a day at the beach without sunscreen, a kitchen burn while handling hot pans, or a chemical burn when dealing with cleaning products. Burn pain is immediate and intense, often accompanied by redness, swelling, and blister formation. The intensity of burn pain can vary significantly. A first-degree burn can be quite painful, but generally heals quickly without leaving scars. A second or third-degree burn, however, can be excruciating and require intensive medical treatment. The pain can persist for days or even weeks, depending on the severity of the burn, and the healing process can be long and painful. When you feel this pain, the first reaction is usually to try to cool the burned area with cold water, hoping to relieve the burning sensation. However, more severe burns may require potent painkillers, specialized dressings, and even hospitalization. The pain can be constant and severe, often making sleep and daily tasks difficult. I believe burn pain is an exception to the rule in this video because, for me, burn pain a bit above average already classifies in Category S. Now imagine the peak burn pain, for example, a third-degree burn? My God! Comment below if you have ever experienced something like this and share your experience. Seventh pain, phantom pain. Phantom pain is a peculiar and mysterious pain that affects people who have had a limb amputated. Although the part of the body responsible for the pain is not physically present, the brain still feels the pain as if the amputated limb were there. This pain can range from mild discomfort to extremely intense and debilitating pain. Phantom pain can be described in various ways. It can be a sharp pain, a burning sensation, tingling, or even a crushing pain. It can arise immediately after amputation or years later and can vary in intensity and duration. Some people experience phantom pain sporadically, while others suffer from it constantly. The possible reasons for this pain are still being studied, but it is believed to be related to how the brain and nervous system process pain sensations. After amputation, the nerves in the amputated area continue to send signals to the brain, which misinterprets them as pain coming from the missing limb. Emotional factors such as stress and anxiety can also exacerbate phantom pain. Thank God I have never felt this pain since I have not had any limbs amputated. Therefore, I believe I am not the best person to classify it. Based on what I think, I will place phantom pain in Category D of our tier list. Although the pain can be extremely uncomfortable and persistent, significantly affecting quality of life, there are many other pains that can be more intense and incapacitating. If you have experienced or know someone who has lived through this type of pain, please share your experience with us. Eighth pain, insect bite pain. Let's talk about a pain that many of us have experienced in one form or another, the pain of an insect bite. While some bites may be just a minor nuisance, others can be significantly painful, especially when it comes to bites from scorpions, wasps, bees, and ants. Let's consider these bites as slightly above average in terms of pain, but not reaching the extreme unbearable level. First, let's talk about the scorpion sting. Depending on the species, the sting can range from mild irritation to intense and debilitating pain. Scorpions like the Brazilian yellow scorpion are known for their painful stings, which can cause sharp, burning pain at the sting site, accompanied by swelling and redness. The pain can radiate to nearby areas and, in some cases, cause systemic symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, and difficulty breathing. The pain from a scorpion sting comfortably sits in the B category of our tier list. Depending on the species, this pain can easily reach Category S. The pain can be quite intense, and the additional symptoms can make this experience quite unbearable. Next, we have the wasp sting. These insects are known for their painful stings that can cause immediate and intense pain, often described as a burning sensation or an electric shock. The affected area can swell and turn red, and the pain can last from a few minutes to several hours, depending on the person's sensitivity and the amount of venom injected. The pain from a wasp sting is classified in Category C of our tier list. The pain is sharp and intense, but it is generally short-lived and can be treated effectively. Bee stings also deserve mention. When a bee stings, it releases venom that causes pain, swelling, and redness. The initial pain is sharp and can be quite intense, but it usually subsides after a few hours. In some people, especially those allergic to bee venom, the reaction can be more severe, causing significant swelling and, in severe cases, a systemic allergic reaction. Considering these factors, the pain from a bee sting is classified in Category C of our tier list. Although painful, the reaction is generally temporary and manageable. Finally, we have ant stings, which vary greatly depending on the species. Some ants, like the fire ant, cause a sting that results in a burning pain and a sensation of burning that can last from minutes to hours. Other ants may cause only slight irritation. However, ants like the bullet ant are known for their extremely painful stings that can cause swelling and blisters. The pain from an ant sting, even considering a slightly above average pain, I believe it deserves a D category on our tier list. Comment below if you agree with these positions, and again, share your experiences with insect stings. Ninth pain, cut laceration pain. Cuts and lacerations are types of injuries that many of us have experienced at some point in our lives. Whether it's a deep cut caused by a sharp knife while preparing dinner or a laceration resulting from a more serious accident, the pain associated with these injuries can vary significantly. In everyday life, cuts and lacerations can occur in various ways. Handling sharp objects like knives and scissors, domestic accidents, falls, or even in recreational activities like sports. The pain of a cut or laceration is usually immediate and intense, with a burning and throbbing sensation as the wound begins to bleed. The severity of the pain depends on the depth of the cut, the location, and the number of nerve endings involved. In addition to the initial pain, cuts and lacerations can also cause prolonged discomfort while the wound heals. The affected area can remain sensitive to touch, and daily activities involving the use of the injured part of the body can become painful. For example, a deep cut on the hand can make simple tasks like writing or using a computer difficult. Based on our criteria of intensity and duration, we classify the pain from cuts and lacerations in Category B of our tier list. Although the initial pain is intense and the discomfort can last for several days or weeks, the pain is generally manageable with proper care and pain medications. However, a severe cut can be completely torturous for a person, easily deserving Category S on our tier list. Comment below if you have ever experienced something like this. 10th pain, intense cold pain. The pain caused by intense cold is an experience that many people underestimate until they face it. Prolonged exposure to very low temperatures can cause a penetrating and uncomfortable pain that goes beyond the simple inconvenience of being cold. The pain from intense cold usually begins with a tingling and numbness in the extremities of the body, such as fingers, toes, ears, and nose. As the exposure continues, this numbness can turn into a sharp, piercing pain, followed by a burning sensation. Intense cold can cause damage to body tissues, resulting in serious conditions like hypothermia and frostbite. Hypothermia occurs when the body's core temperature drops dangerously low, affecting the functioning of vital organs and leading to symptoms such as shivering, mental confusion, and loss of coordination. But in this classification, we will not consider the extreme cold to the point of frostbite. In addition to the physical pain, extreme cold can affect mobility and limb function, making it difficult to perform simple tasks. For example, I suffer a lot from the pain of cold because no matter how many sweaters, socks, or pants I put on, it seems like it's never enough. Although many people are accustomed to the cold depending on where they live, based on the criteria and my own experience, the pain caused by intense cold deserves a B category on our tier list. The pain can be very intense and debilitating, but with adequate measures such as warming up, it is possible to prevent and treat most cases of cold-induced pain, making it a painful but manageable experience. 11th pain, fracture, break pain. Pain from fractures or breaks is one of the most intense and acute experiences someone can face. When a bone breaks due to falls, impacts, or accidents, the pain is immediate and excruciating. The sensation can range from sharp and piercing pain to a constant throbbing pain, depending on the severity of the fracture. In everyday life, this pain can arise in various situations: a car accident, a fall while playing sports, or even a simple slip at home. The fracture can be simple, where the bone breaks but does not move out of place, or compound, where the bone pierces the skin, making the situation even more painful and complicated. The intensity of fracture pain is often so high that the person may go into shock with symptoms such as paleness, sweating, and nausea. Immobilizing the affected limb is usually necessary to prevent further pain and damage until proper medical treatment can be provided. The treatment of a fracture usually involves aligning the broken bone, reduction, immobilization with a cast or splint, and in severe cases, surgery for internal fixation with pins or plates. The pain can persist throughout the healing process, which can take weeks or even months, depending on the complexity of the fracture. I believe this pain is another exception to the rule in this video. I can't imagine a pain, whether from a fracture or break, being classified anywhere other than Category S. This is certainly a pain I would not wish on my worst enemy. Not that I have an enemy, but you get the point. Comment below if you have ever fractured or broken any part of your body, and of course, share how this painful experience was for you. 12th pain, pain from slamming a finger in the door. What to say about this pain? The pain from slamming a finger in the door is one of the most common and instantly recognizable pains. The sudden and crushing impact of the finger caught between the door and the frame causes sharp, piercing pain that can leave anyone immobilized for a few moments. Well, I'm being quite formal so far, but we know that besides the pain, the curses are almost inevitable. Poor door mothers. They must have been called every name in the book. Continuing, although the initial pain is extremely intense, it tends to subside after a few minutes. Based on our criteria, we classify the pain from slamming a finger in the door in category C of our tier list. The initial pain is sharp and intense, but it usually diminishes quickly and is manageable with basic care, such as applying ice. And finally, we have a bonus pain that is not really a physical pain, but rather an emotional one, which is none other than the pain of missing someone. Although it is not a physical pain, but equally intense and impactful, this is a deep and complex emotional pain that can be felt in various ways and at different moments in life. It can be the longing for a loved one who has passed away, a friend who is far away, or even moments and places that have marked our lives. This pain can manifest in various forms, from a feeling of emptiness and sadness to real physical pain, such as a tightness in the chest. Unlike the physical pains we have discussed so far, the pain of missing someone is much more subjective and personal. It can be triggered by memories, photos, songs, or smells that transport us back to that moment or person we are missing. The intensity of this pain varies from person to person and can last from brief moments to prolonged periods. Since it is an emotional and extremely subjective pain, I will not classify the pain of missing someone on our tier list. Instead, we want to hear from you. How would you classify the pain of missing someone? Share your experiences in the comments and let us know how this pain has impacted your life. After all, each story is unique, and how we deal with longing says a lot about us. Don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and share your painful experiences below in the comment section. Until the next video.